Hello, welcome to Book Talk. At Book Talk, we get to have an author come and tell us about his book or her book. And today we have an author who is going to speak to us about the book Altered Estates. And that author is known as Angel Fox. Angel Fox. Welcome to the show, Angel. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing great.
Yeah,
Thanks.
first and foremost, happy birthday to you.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yes, today is your birthday, and I know you're celebrating.
Yes. Also, I just want to mention really quick, though, about the recognition as well of the Indigenous people for the Day of Truth and Reconciliation. I just wanted to put that out there as well.
Oh,
That's
oh,
today. That's today as well. Yes.
okay. It's good to know that. Good to know that. So, Angel, tell us, where are you right now?
I'm in New Brunswick on the
Mhm.
east coast of Canada.
Beautiful. And if we can know a little bit about yourself, is that where you were born? Is that where you grew up?
Yes, actually, I was born in St. John, New Brunswick. It's a port city there, and I grew up in the country. I'm a country girl. They say you can take the girl out of the country, but you can't take the country out of the girl.
Hmm.
But yeah, I had a very humble upbringing, and it's made me a more well-rounded person, I would say. Like it always teaches you something, whatever you go through in life, like struggles in life, they always teach you something. Like it's not what the situation is that happens to you, but how you respond to it is what matters.
Oh, sure. And I like that because a lot of
Hmm.
things happen in our life, and some of them could be so devastating. Some of them could drive us in a direction that we don't like. But always we have to focus ahead and think whatever has happened, yeah, should build me, build me. And once we draw lessons from whatever it is happening, then we can always face life positively. So I like that.
That's right, it can make you or break you,
Yeah,
and
sure.
also how you respond. That's right.
Hmm. So, when did you start writing?
It's funny that you ask. Uh, I was never, well, I don't know. I guess I always wrote poetry when I was in school and stuff. So it wasn't like actual books and that. I always loved poetry. And this was the Altered States was my first book that I wrote. Actually, just a second. Like where I, you'll find when I'm talking to you that I jump back and forth because there's so much going on, like in my head when it comes to talking about different things in my life because there's so much that's happened in my life, and sometimes it's hard to keep the timelines straight. So I'll kind of bounce back and forth, but apparently it is the second book because I did write a first book. It was called Billy Bunny's Adventures. It's a
Hmm.
children's book, and that's also on Amazon website for order as well. And that one tells about the how it teaches children a lesson about um, not judging people by their looks, like basically. So because you'll end up alone if if you judge people that way. So
Hmm.
that was my first book, and
I,
that one I wrote when I was in college. It started out like when I was in my graphic design course, we had to do a project, and that's what I chose to do and did some illustrations. Yeah, so those are my illustrations in the book too. So, and I know that's not the book we're talking about today, but that's where I started.
Now, it's good that you mentioned that, and we kind of identify. So I understand what you mean because the first book that I wrote is not the first book that I published. And sometimes I have a challenge when someone asks you, "What was your first book to write?" And I am like, "Was it Is he asking me about the first published or the first one I wrote?
Yeah.
So I understand. And then you talk about graphic designing, which you went
Mhm.
to college for. And it seems that you have so many interests because you're a graphic designer, you're a first aid instructor, you are an artist also. And actually, the painting behind you, I know, is your painting, although many people may not be seeing it.
Right.
But how do you manage to have all those interests, which are strong things to commit to? I mean, all
Well,
those.
I'm very
Also, I didn't mention you're also a musician. You write music and perform.
yes.
Hey,
Um, yeah, I just lost my train of thought. What was the question?
I mean, how you managed to, or how did you? Okay, let's go step by step. How did you identify those many talents? What was your first passion, and is it still a strong passion above writing? Was it singing and writing and singing, or maybe graphic design? What was your first passion?
Okay.
Most, yeah.
Okay, I get you now. So my first passion was um, being a mother, actually. That I know it sounds weird, but it's funny. When I was younger, you know how children like they wish to be something in their life.
Mm-hmm,
Mine was always to be a mother. So I did that. I committed my entire life to my children. And then once they were all grown and moved on, that's when I focused on me and do the things that I was passionate about aside from my children, because your children should come first.
mm-hmm,
And the graphic design, yes, I absolutely love graphic design because there's so many different faucets that you can branch out into with the graphic design. And then, of course, singing, absolutely, that would be my second. Well, maybe first. I don't know. It bounces back and forth with the graphic design and this and the singing. And I've written some of my own music as well. Um, and our band opened for like a popular um, other group
mm-hmm,
in 2015. And what was the other thing? It's yeah, like helping people also is a passion of mine. So that's where the first aid instructor comes in. And I used to be also a medical first responder and ground search and rescue. I was part of that team for a while as well. But eventually, you have to pull back on some things because there's just not enough of you to spread out for everything. And now, more recently, I have a huge passion for the face painting, but I don't neglect the other passions as well. I try to kind of fit them all in.
mm-hmm,
But that being said, with this book, Altered States, since I've been promoting it lately, I've found a lot of people are urging me to write a sequel, and I'm really excited about that. And I
mm-hmm.
do, and I'm currently also helping another friend of mine that's an author to get their second book published because I helped them with their first as well. So yeah, there's always something on the go with me, that's for sure. Never a dull
Beautiful.
moment.
Beautiful. I love how you switch the answer. I mean, and since we are here and discussing books, not only books, we also pass forward some lessons to the viewer or the listener that they can apply to their own life. I like that you switched on to family was your first passion, and family should be our first passion. Because someone told me that family is the first thing that you meet when you enter the earth, and you are going to have friends along the way, you're going to have a career along the way, and family will be the last that is going to stand by you at the very last of your life. So I like that, I love that. Now, coming to your book Altered States, which we are here to discuss today. Now, this book is based on a true story. Whose true story is this?
I'll give you two guesses, and the first doesn't count. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Uh, are you going to guess?
Okay, this is your life story.
Yes, that is correct. But I
Oh,
said the
oh,
first guess doesn't count. So I'm just
okay,
kidding.
the first guess doesn't count. Give us the
Yeah.
second guess. Or I make this the guess. I'm the one making the guesses. Now,
Yes.
the second guess should be um your child.
Pardon?
Your child.
Tired?
Your child. Your child.
Oh,
You.
retired. I'm sorry. Oh my God, do I look that old? uh, no,
I
I'm
thought you
not
told us that
retired.
you
I'm
have a
very
family, and when they moved on, that's when you became focused on the writing.
no, no. I'm far from retired.
Okay, let's go on. Now, give us whose true story. If you have to tell us, you don't have to, but if you can, okay.
Okay. So originally I wasn't going to say who the true story was about,
And it's not a
because
must.
what's that?
It's not a must. Okay, go ahead.
Right. At first, I wasn't going to say when I first wrote the book, and I haven't for a while since I wrote it. I haven't, like, only couple of close friends of mine knew right away that it was about me. But
Hmm.
there was reasons why I didn't want to let people know originally, because I didn't want them to judge me, because that's not who I am anymore. Um, and yeah, and I didn't want it to cause like any kind of problems with family and stuff like that. So yeah, that's why originally I didn't. But this is my truth, and I feel like that's part of the healing, is sharing that truth and letting people know that yes, this is about me. And if they ever struggled with the same type of trauma or experiences in their life, that and they wanted to reach out, that I'd be more than happy to share my experience with them.
Mm, that makes it more interesting to know what is inside there.
Yeah, right,
And
exactly.
maybe you can drive us step by step in your best way.
Well,
What's in that book?
the thing is, too, it's like um, it's so unbelievable that you would think it's fiction. So when you're reading it, keep in mind these are true events. Like, the only thing that is not true in the book is the names, because obviously to protect people in the book, their
Hmm.
identity.
Hmm.
But it's a lot. Like, it was a lot that happened along the road from childhood, and even to this day, I still deal with some things, but not directly like on me. And that's where this book is going to continue on,
Hmm.
for the sequel, is what happens after that. Uh, because I'm glad that this, well, I shouldn't tell you how it ends. So it is an ongoing story, but
That would be for the reader to go and find out how it ends. But
that's right.
we
Well, I
want
mean,
we just want to have a clue of why should we read the book? Why should I read the book? Okay, go
yeah,
ahead. Uh-huh.
it's, well, I'll actually read the back of it so that they have an idea.
Oh, that would
Is
be good.
Altered States is based on a true story of a young child's tragic beginning, which leads to her ultimate vindication. You will quickly find yourself immersed on this heartbreaking journey of a shattered girl who struggles to fight against all odds to survive in a world full of heartbreak, betrayal, and injustice. This novel opens your mind to the psychological development of a young child's mind to adulthood, as she tries to protect herself from the outside negative forces that relentlessly test her human spirit. And I'm sure that there's a lot of readers or people out there that felt themselves in that situation before, throughout their lives at some point. So I feel
Mm,
like it would be helpful for them to read how how this follows a child to adulthood, how the mind works. Because in the book, I literally am 100% honest with how I'm sharing my story with my readers. It was hard to choose that that style of writing, because it's like you're just putting your whole self out there,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, for people to judge. Which my personality is like, I can't handle rejection, and that's who I am because of like my growth along the way.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm working on it. But that was one of the big reasons too that I didn't share that it was about me, because that would be tough for like people to, start judging you for some choices you may have made. But it's like choices you made because you didn't know any better, or that's all, like you felt backed against a wall, or um, just different situations like that. Um, but yeah, that's
Are there some incidences that you would like to share with us before we go and find out more?
let me see. Um, okay, so there was one point in the book where um, I was living on my own. Like I left home when I was 16 years old, never looked back, um, because of certain things that happened in the book, and I'm not going to tell you why. That's one of the things that you can read into. But so I left home at 16, and I was living with my grandmother, and my dad was with her at the time too. And they, like my grandmother was dealing with some issues as well, because she went through an abusive relationship when she was younger, and that affected her mental health. So whenever she had downtime, it made her dwell on those things, and it made her like a little crazy. We'll say, I know I don't know the grammatically correct word to say, but anyways, um, that ended up coming at me, because I was helping her when I was living with her, helping her like to keep my stay, like to earn my keep, we should say. And that gave her more time to think. I didn't know it was hurting her more than helping her. And there was a lot of events that happened while I was living with her that were like unheard of. Um, and yeah, so it caused different events to happen, leading to um, her being taken away. And I blamed myself for that for years. Like, even though, like I said, it wasn't my fault, I was just a 16-year-old girl, and it was just too much for my grandmother, to have all that time to dwell on her past, and turn out to affect her mentally. Um, but I don't want to say what happened to her. You'll find out in the book. But
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't good. So, like I said, I carried that for a while, and I was blamed for a while too. I felt the guilt myself, and then on top of that, I had people, family members, that blamed me for what happened to my grandmother. So, anyways, like I said, it was a lot of it's a lot of mental, emotional kind of um, events that will follow you for life. And like I said before, they can make you or break you. And just to let you know how I got through those events in my life, mostly was my sense of humor. I just
Mm-hmm.
would make light of things, brush it off, um, and just move on. Like, I also had a psychologist that I spoke with, and she was amazed, like, of all the events that happened in my life. And I never turned to drugs or alcohol, like addiction type of things. Um, so she was really shocked about that. Because she said some people only go through maybe one or two of those things in their life, and that's what happens. So, like, it was something like really unheard of to her. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So, like I said, I can't say a whole lot about the book because it will reveal too much. Like, yes,
Mhm,
there's a lot going on. Every chapter, like the way I wrote it was like, I don't know if you ever heard tell of cliffhangers.
mhm.
It's a term that it leaves you hanging for the.
Yeah.
I write it in a way that it makes you want to read the next chapter. And I've had people that I've mailed it out to waiting on my book launch, and they said they've, for somebody that doesn't like to read, they could not put the book down. And one of them said they read it in 4.5 hours. They just couldn't put it down. Like they just committed to it, and um, yeah, they loved it, and had some people say you should have a movie written. I was like, well, that's going a little far. But yeah, so they're making me more excited and passionate about writing the second one. So whoever gets the first one, will see why they're saying that, and why they want to push for the second uh,
Mm.
book. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, at this point, I want to appreciate each and every person who's watching us, or those who are listening to us, and those who also get to watch us after we are through, or listen to us on our platform, bookplacemedia.com, and also on all the other audio platforms, Audible, Spotify, name them. Just go and search for Book Talk at Bookplace. And today we are discussing Angela Fox's book, which is Altered States. At 16, she left home and she had an experience at her grandmother's place, which you're going to find out from the book, and so many other things that she shares there, you're going to find. And as you can tell, uh, Angel likes to share some interesting things, some lessons are going to be shared in the book. So go get the book. Go and search for Altered States by Angel Fox. And we keep going. So, how long did it take you to write the book?
I believe, now, once again, my memory's not the greatest. um, I believe it was because I would sit down every day after work for about 2 to 3 hours writing, and I think it was 3 months, if I'm not mistaken. Um, but yeah, like when you're devoted to something and passionate about it, you just keep pushing until it's done. Like I'm not one, and that was hard for me because I'm a now person. So to to set it aside and have to go to work, it was always on my mind. Like I couldn't focus on my work because I had this book that I wanted to finish. And the main reason why I wrote the book was because I carried all of this baggage with me for years, and it I knew it would be a huge part of my healing process is by putting it into a book, um, just to like have it leave me. Yes, it's always there, but not in the same um, way. Like I felt like people need to hear my story so that if anything, it can help them and let them know they're not alone. Um, if they dealt with, um, I, I hate the word trauma because it just sounds so horrible.
Mm-hmm.
But if they read it, they can decide for themselves if it was traumatic or not. Um, because I, yeah, how do you measure trauma, right? Uh, yeah. So, and the
Yeah.
thing is, the hardest part for me is going to be if when I write my sequel is having to read this book again because it's going to bring me right back to those. It literally pulls you back to when those events happened, and um, it's going to obviously rip a band-aid off for a bit, um, but it'd be worth it to, like I said, write the sequel and let people know, even though you pull yourself out of it for a while, that there are triggers and that you have to respond to them. It's how you respond to them, as we said when we first started. It's how you respond to them that is what's going to um, make make or break you. So
Mm.
it's keeping that positive attitude and reminding yourself this was in the past, this was not my fault, and um, and helping people moving forward. That's a huge part of the healing too, is extending that that help to others.
Okay, that's very good. And since you like extending help to others, now part of our audience are interested in also writing and publishing their own books. And they may have questions on how to go about it. Now, here we have a question that is coming from Vivid Chris, one of our viewers. And he's asking, because you shared with us that you are a graphic designer, did you actually design your book? Maybe the format? Did you design the cover? How did you go about it? And maybe you can share other parts of how you came to be a published author.
Yes, I absolutely did design the cover.
Mhm.
I wouldn't have it any other way. Like I said, graphic design is my passion, and I researched some of the different elements and stuff of what would make a good cover. And I also reached out to different publishing companies originally before I heard about Kindle publishing,
Mhm.
and they wanted like starting at $2,000 like to publish a book, and it's like that was way out of my price range. So it's like that was so discouraging at the beginning before I heard of Kindle, and by reaching out to different friends that also liked writing, I happened to stumble across one that used that method. And at first, it was a little bit of a struggle because I'm not that great tech savvy, as you noticed today. But anyways, I did um, we'll say bulldoze my way through the technical part, and I was successful, and that was a huge accomplishment in itself. And so yeah, so through the Kindle you can uh, add it to like your Microsoft Word. It goes right into the format, and you can select your format. So I don't take the credit for the formatting because it does the work for you. You just select which one's your favorite, um, and yeah, it makes it so easy. You just type your words and check your spelling and stuff. Well, the computer checks your spelling, but as you know, if you have a word that's a word, but it's not the word you want, it's not going to catch it. So, anyways, it makes it super easy. Um, like I said, through Kindle Publishing to do all of that. But as
Mm.
far as the book cover goes, yes, I designed that, and I'll design the other ones. And the gentleman that I'm helping with his book now, I've designed his other one, and then the one that's coming. And what was it? There was something else, of course, it just gone. I was going to mention something else,
Okay,
but
it's
I've
okay.
mm,
We understand now. Each and every one of us has a story. Now, what we don't know, and what I would request the person out there is to look inside that story and see, is there a lesson that someone could benefit from? And sometimes we don't even know. It's only when we share the story out there that a person gets a lesson from the experiences. Now, having such people on our audience who are having a story but they don't have an idea of how to get to publish their own book, what are the few words that you tell someone who has a story and don't know how to turn it into a book? What are the few words you will share with them?
well, I would say never give up. There's always a way. There's always people out there that are willing to help. You just have to have the right circle. Always surround yourself with people that are supporting you and not um, like putting in those blocks, those roadblocks, because one, as you people may or may not know, it takes 10 positive things to uplift you after one negative thing what has been said. So stay away from the negative. Um, Keep your ring of positive people and keep pushing. And if you do need help, if you're listening to this, I can offer you as much help as I can remember. As you know, my memory's great. But yeah, I'd be more than willing to help with that process. But yeah, and since also pushing for my book sales, there was a lady that randomly inboxed me and asked me if I would write her story. That was an honor for her to reach out to me because, as I mentioned earlier, people are very feel vulnerable when they're telling their story. So for to know that she feels that trust and to reach out to me and ask, I felt honored that she did.
Hmm. And on that note, to everyone who's listening, to all those who have sent comments, those who have asked questions, we thank you. And Kathy says she wants to turn her own book into a film. Yeah, it's possible. Just take Angel's advice and go surround yourself with people who can show you the way forward. Interact, ask questions, and you can always have the answer. There is no answer to a question that you have not asked. And Kathy is asking, how do you market? She put her own onto Amazon, and it hasn't sold. So she asked, "How do you market?"
Yeah, I found the same thing. Kathy, was it?
Yeah, Kathy
Yes, yes.
Kabaso.
I found the same thing with Amazon. I did get some initially, but it's all about whatever you put into it is what you're going to receive from it. So I found I had more attention when I shared it on Facebook, and I actually reached out to local bookstores like Chapters, and I have one here that's cover to cover books. And Chapters just signed me on, and I have a book launch for with a signing on October the 16th now. And I've never had so much attention in all my life with this book since I've been reaching out local. And it's crazy because I've had my book for a while. So you can imagine, like, it's all about it's word of mouth mostly, like as opposed to because when you put it on Amazon, it gets lost in those other links. Like there's hundreds of books, thousands. I shouldn't say hundreds. Like there's thousands of books that it kind of gets lost in the pile, or somebody's looking for a specific thing and they get lost down the rabbit hole. So yeah, that's what my advice would be: reach out to local um, bookstores and see if they'll sign you on, and offer to do a live signing and bring attention to your book. Share it on Facebook, share it on any other social media that you have.
Thank you very much, Angel, for that advice to Kathy and to everyone else who's listening and don't have an idea of how to go about it. And we wish you success in everything that you do. And now, since you talked about someone having reached to you, now this is to everyone who's out there and would like to connect to Angel. Now we have attached the way that you can contact her through Facebook. And also, if you want to read the book, because she told us that there are things that she won't say here, and that creates some desire to go and
Suspense.
find out.
Some suspense.
Some suspense to go and find out what's
Intriguing
there.
suspense.
Yes, the suspense. Yes, the link is also there where you can go to her book on Amazon. And yeah, that's almost about it today at Book Talk, where we've been with Angel Fox covering the book Altered States. And yes, at this point, I would like to ask the author, Angel Fox, to leave us, as always, with a few words that we should always remember. You've been good. You've been kind enough in the episode to share with us a few lessons. But what must we always remember in life? This is your chance.
Always remember that you are important, and you only have yourself. All like never rely on other people for what your passion is for and about. Like, yes, they're there, they can support you, but when you get really down, you you have to rely on your own instincts and your own strength to come back out of um, like a negative situation. And also, like I said before, surround yourself with positive people. Like, I can't stress that enough. Like, even like, I know some people, they don't like when you say, even if the family member is negative, that you have to separate yourself, because your mental health comes first. You have to set boundaries. So, what, like, if you find there's any kind of toxicity in your life at all with people, just separate yourself from them. Surround yourself with people that love and care for you and support you in everything, and you'll find a huge difference. It just taking one of those people out of that circle, you'll find a huge difference. You have to do it for yourself.
Thank you for that. Once I'm in a crowd, I may not think right. So at some point, I've got to withdraw from the crowd and think what I'm going to do from here. And once you're down, as I get it from Angel, you can always lift up your hand for someone who's positive next to you to lift you up. Thank you very, very much, Angel, for sharing your time with us. And
It
we
was a
wish
pleasure.
you all the best in everything, even as people go and get your book. We wish that they enjoy, and we know they are going to enjoy reading from what you've shared and going through the cliffhangers that are there.
Yeah. Well, I
Yes.
hope they enjoy it and learn something from it too, because it's all about learning and healing.
Oh, yeah. It's all about learning and healing. And thank you. And
Hmm.
also, thank you to all those who have been watching us. Please remember to share these with all your friends. And most of all, go get the book. Go get the book.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for having me, Anthony. I appreciate it.
Yes. So I have been your host, Anthony Morore. And together with Angel Fox, we are saying bye for now.